I want to welcome everyone to the Computer Club's monthly meeting. My name is Shelley Goldberg, and I'm the president of the Computer Club. And looks like we have actually a record number of people at our virtual meetings. We've got 81 participants, and probably a few more because I'm sure there are a few couples out there. So welcome everyone, and let's get started. So as always at our monthly meetings, whether they be at Drendel or virtually, as we're doing now, we go over a few things first. We do a financial report, talk a little bit about membership and about the Computer Club itself. We talk about training and classes that we offer. We are doing those virtually now. A little bit about community matters, and then we get into our feature presentation. And today's feature presentation will be on streaming services. This is our treasurer's report. It hasn't varied very much from 1 month to the next over this past the past years since we have the pandemic ongoing. So it's pretty similar to what we've had in prior months. As of today, we have 1,667 members. We welcomed a couple of new members actually today. So welcome new members. And we have extended the membership of everyone who was a member last year has been extended automatically through June 30th of this year, 2021. So you don't have to worry about not having paid dues, renewal dues. There were no renewal dues. We will be starting that again in the spring. Our monthly presentations, our monthly meetings are held on the second Thursday of each month. The next one will be on Thursday, February 11th, and then Thursday, March 11th, and so on. Normally what we do is we provide you with coffee and donuts at Drendel. Of course, we're unable to do that during the pandemic and while we're doing our virtual meetings. And then our regular meeting starts at 9. We're starting a little bit later today because some people had some issues with the link that was provided. We are running a virtual computer lab on Mondays. Normally, when the lab was open, we were open 3 days a week. But with the pandemic, of course, the lab is closed and we're doing things virtually. So the way that works is if you have an issue with your computer or a tablet or a smartphone, all you need to do is send an email to me at shelg2@gmail.com. And then we will schedule you for our Monday morning labs. And we've been able to help everyone just over Zoom. We've been able to help everyone with their problems. So just remember to have your passwords when you do sign in. We are also doing classes virtually. So just check the emails that you get for any announcements and the newsletters that we send out. We also have a photography group, which meets on the first Wednesday of each month at 7 o'clock. And they've been meeting via Zoom as well. So that's been virtual. They're kind of on a winter recess right now, but the meetings are still ongoing. So during the winter months, the photography group is kind of doing discussions. Some of you may have seen Joe Norton's presentation that was earlier this month on his African safari trek. Classes, it's the beginning of the year, so we're just starting now to set up a schedule of new classes. We will have additional classes on Gmail and iPhone and more. That schedule will be sent to you as soon as we firm that up. If anyone has suggestions of what you would like to see in virtual classes right now and regular classes once we're able to do those. Just shoot me an email as well. So welcome everyone to January, a new year, 2021, and let's get things going. We also, since this is a meeting that's open to all residents, not just those in the computer club, we do talk about matters in the community at large. You should have gotten notices about the annual meeting, which is normally held at Drendel, but it's being held virtually over Zoom. It will be live streamed on YouTube. And that's going to be on Wednesday, January 27th at 1 o'clock. You should have gotten either in the mail or in your email proxy statements so you can vote via proxy, since obviously you won't be able to vote when you're live streaming it. Lifelong learning lectures are held on Fridays at 10 a.m. and these have started going virtually as well. There is a lifelong learning lecture. Ken Cozy is doing one actually tomorrow morning on the Osiris space mission. And then next week, Jim Gibbons is doing one on the history of Chicago. And without further ado, we'll get now into our main presentation, which is on streaming services. So talking about streaming services are something that has occurred over the last several years. We're seeing streaming subscriptions that are up by more than 50% in the past year as people go from cable to an alternative. Cable is declining. It probably within 10 years may no longer exist at all. The average household in the United States now subscribes to 4 streaming services. A lot of them do that in conjunction with their cable, and many have just cut the cord completely. The pandemic is probably even making this go even faster. We've seen movie theaters closing in 2020. So people are spending more time at home and they want to have that theater experience right within their own homes. We've seen several new services, new streaming services open last year. Disney Plus and HBO Max opened last year. There was another one, Apple Plus started last year. There was one that failed that came out that was called Quibi, which was basically a streaming service for short little films that you would watch for 10-minute films that you could probably watch on your phone. Unfortunately, that did not go over too well what with the pandemic and all, and people wanted to actually watch longer films at home. So they actually closed down. In this year, in 2021, we're seeing new streaming services as well. We show the video on Discovery Plus. There's a new one coming out called Paramount Plus, which we'll talk about, and another one called Stroom. Stroom is an interesting one, which is, Stroom is actually an attempt, and this has not started yet, this will be starting sometime this year. It's an attempt to consolidate a bunch of smaller services into one so that you can subscribe to one streaming service and yet have subscriptions to a whole slew of maybe 20 or 30 different smaller streaming providers. So let's talk about the different types of streaming services that are available. And I'm kind of grouping these. The first ones are the ones that would be considered a replacement for what you're watching on cable TV. So this is primarily a cord cutting thing. You'd want to get rid of your cable, and what can you replace it with that's going to give you a whole bunch of channels. And there are free ones, and there are also some paid ones. So we'll talk first about some of the free ones that are available. The biggest and probably the first one you should look at if you're looking at something that's totally free. And as I say, there are a lot of these streaming services are literally free, so they cost you nothing. Pluto provides 200 channels, all live channels, just the way you would get on cable. It's probably the best free replacement for cable. It has a number of different on-demand movies and TV shows, as well as the live channels. It's got news, it's got entertainment, it's got all kinds of different things that you might be looking for with cable. You can find it, the Pluto app can be installed either from your smart TVs, if you don't have a smart TV, or if you have one of the devices like Roku's or Amazon Fire Sticks. And we've talked in the past about some of these streaming devices. You can also go on the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. And even on your computer, you can just go to the browser and you can just go right into Pluto right from your browser on a PC as well. So there are a lot of different ways of getting into cable. You don't even have to have a TV. You can even do this on your smartphone or on your tablets as well. So let's take a look at Pluto.
Hey guys, in this video, going to be doing an overview on the Pluto TV application. In my opinion, it is the best free alternative to traditional satellite and cable TV. You might be asking yourself, well, what's the catch? A lot of the times these free alternatives to traditional live TV sources aren't legal, but Pluto TV, it's totally legal. It's been around for years. They make their money through advertisements that they play while you're watching content. It's just ad breaks like you would typically have with traditional satellite and cable TV. So those of you who are coming from that resource, you'll feel right at home when consuming content on Pluto TV. To get the application, you need to have a streaming player hooked in to your TV or a smart TV, such as Roku, Amazon Fire, Android TV. You can also get the Pluto TV application on your smartphone device, tablets, or going to Pluto TV's website on a web browser in your computer. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can get Pluto TV. I'm on Roku, so I just go down to streaming channels. And then once I'm in the channel store, I go down to search channels, and then I just type in Pluto TV, and the application should show up right there on the side. Go over, click on Pluto TV, and then you can download and install it right here. And it's going to be a little bit different based on what you're using, whether you're in the Android Google Play Store, whether you're in the Amazon Fire TV store, all those different places. You should be able to access that Pluto TV application, download it, and then you should be able to launch it from there. So when we get into Pluto TV, it's going to take you to whatever channel that you were previously left off on, and I was just on a music channel. And then you can open up the TV guide by clicking the select button on your remote a couple of times. And this should be very similar as well to people coming over from traditional satellite and cable television. You get this TV guide. They filter it into different sections. So there's movie channels that you can run through. There's entertainment channels. There's news, binge watch shows, comedy, sports, explore, life and style, tech and geek, kids, Latino, as well as those music stations. And there's hundreds of different options that you can scroll through. It's not a bad idea to create an account so that you can favorite the channels that you like watching, and then it'll be a little bit easier to find those. And they also have on-demand content. If you scroll up to the top, you're going to be on live TV in general, but just go over and click on the on-demand tab. You can scroll down, and then also they have these filtered into a bunch of different on-demand sections as well, different movies and TV shows that you can consume. And like I said right at the top of the video, Pluto TV, it's completely free. It's just simply, there's ad breaks, just like you would get with traditional satellite or cable TV, that's how they make their money. You just don't have to pay a subscription fee on top of that. I really enjoy Pluto TV. They continue to add channels over the course of time. It gets better and better all of the time. I was one of the first people that used Pluto TV way back when it came out a number of years ago. And at that time, it wasn't necessarily the greatest of offerings, but it was free, so people didn't really complain, and it was still decent. But now it's just way better, light years ahead of where it was back then. I highly recommend checking it out if you're looking for free alternatives, especially those that have live cable TV and satellite subscriptions. You're going to feel right at home using this interface, going through your guide, selecting exactly what content that you want to consume, and there's no strings attached. So if you don't end up liking what you're experiencing with Pluto TV, then you don't have to undo a subscription or anything like that. It's just free to try out, and you can check it out for yourself. So I appreciate you guys stopping by. Consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, and I'll catch you back here next time.
So yeah, and for those of you who have yet to cut the cord, I would strongly urge you to try out a streaming service such as Pluto. It's absolutely free. There's no contracts. You can do this while you still have your Comcast or AT&T. All you need to do is set up your smart TV, or if you have, you might need a device, as we've talked in the past about. Once you set up Pluto, you can play with that to your heart's content and see if you like it. And then if it's something that you feel can replace your cable, along with some of the other streaming services that we're going to be talking about, then at that point, you can always cancel your cable. In addition to Pluto, there are a couple of other competitors to Pluto that are that you can use either instead of or in addition to Pluto, and offering a lot more channels than the 200 or so that you get with Pluto. Xumo, XUMO, is another one that's very similar to Pluto. It also has several hundred channels on there. Actually, what you're looking at here is the History Channel is on there. They have all kinds of different things, just like Pluto does with entertainment, news, comedy, drama, movies, you name it. So that's another one that you might want to look at. In addition to Xumo, there's one called Tubi TV, and this again offers several hundred channels. And Pluto is was the first one to come out with these, but there are a number of other ones that are competitors to Pluto. So let's take a look at Tubi TV right now.
Okay, today we're going to take a look at Tubi TV. In a second, we're going to take you into Tubi TV and show you all the screens. We're also going to show you all the movies and TV shows they have available. Now, Tubi claims to have over 20,000 TV and movie titles available. Tubi is available on your Fire Stick, Roku, iPhone, Android, and many of the smart TVs. And lastly, it is 100% free and legal. Okay, let's dive right into it and take a look at Tubi. Okay, when you get in there, you'll see very quickly that it has a very similar look to a lot of the other paid streaming services, only this one is free. As you scroll down here, you'll see lots of categories, including not on Netflix, action, movie night, romance, sci-fi. Some of the movies you'll see, I recommend Morning Glory with Harrison Ford and Rachel McAdams. There's the movie Gold. And I really enjoyed The Pitch. It's a reality show which follows two advertising companies competing for an account. And I was really surprised to see the old classic series, Space 1999. That's our video for today. As always, thank you very much for watching. And please remember to
Another one that's that you can take advantage of, and like I say, a lot of these complement each other's. So you don't have to say, well, try one of them. Which one do I want to pick? Because you can take all of them, and you can. They all have different channels on them, different types of channels on them. So you can try them all and see which ones you like, and you might find a channel or two on each one that that you're interested in. Some of you may be familiar with Redbox, where they provide you with DVDs. Well, of course, DVDs are starting to die out now as well. And so Redbox has gotten into the streaming arena as well. And so what they've done is they're actually renting movies via streaming. To be more competitive and to get more people interested in renting their movies, they're providing a free live TV as well. So these are live TV stations, just like you would find on Pluto and Tubi and Xumo. Not as many stations, but you might find some that you're interested in. So here you're seeing some. It's a World Poker Tournament. They've got a poker station. They've got, as you can see here, they've got things on crime and scandal, entertainment. There's all kinds of different channels that they offer there as well. So you might want to take a look at that. Then you get into the pay live TV cable replacements. And you might say, well, why would I want to pay if I can get it for free? Well, the stations that you get, the channels that might be offered on the free services, they're not necessarily the exact live channels that you may be normally used to over cable. So, for example, if you're watching CNN, it's not the live CNN station. What it is it's usually maybe a couple of hours behind, and they'll have like summaries of the news on there using CNN clips and that type of thing on some of the stations. Some of them are totally live. The ones that you might get on live stations, there's a CBS News, there's ABC News Live, and so on. Those types of stations are live. But if you wanted to get the live stations exactly the way you see it on cable TV, then you need to get into the pay live TV cable replacements. And this would give you the same sports and news and movie channels that that you would be getting on cable. And there are a number of different offerings. The least expensive is probably Philo. It's only $20 a month. But of course, if you're not going to pay as much, then what you're going to get is you're going to be missing your local channels, and you'll be missing the sports channels. You can go up a little bit to Sling. Sling is a very good offering. They have actually two different services you can select from, offering different channels. One is they call the orange, and one they call the blue. They're $30 each, or you can get both of them for $45 a month. Going up from there, you then get into YouTube Live TV, Hulu Live TV, and Fubo. Those are the ones that are the more robust pay streaming services to replace cable. YouTube Live TV, and this is not the YouTube with just the videos. This is actually the full YouTube Live TV, which has all the different channels as well. And this is probably the best one out there. It's the most comprehensive. It's also the most expensive right now. It's at $65 a month. They started out a lot lower, but as things go, prices do go up. But what you also have to remember is that there are no contracts. So unlike cable, where you're signing for a year or 2 years or what have you to be on a contract, you can switch from one of these to another. You can even switch during the year. So if you wanted, let's say, to get more sports, maybe you want to watch the football games, what you can do is get something like a Fubo or a YouTube Live during the football season, and then maybe in the summer, switch to a less expensive alternative. So there are a lot of different things that you can do. There's a new one that T-Mobile just came out with, which right now is only available for T-Mobile and Sprint customers, and it's called T-Vision. They actually have several different alternatives on there. The cheapest alternative is 33 channels, and it's only $10. Now it's very light on what they offer. You can also get they have in the $50 range, you can get a lot more channels. So that's something that you can look at as well. It's anticipated that they will be offering this to the general public, not just T-Mobile customers, sometime later this year. So those are the different ones that are available. What I would encourage you to do is to always take advantage of any free trials they offer. A lot of them offer the first month free. And then, like I said, there are no contracts. So you can watch it for a month. If you don't like it, just cancel it. If you do like it, keep it up for several months. And then if you decide you want to drop it either temporarily or permanently, you are not under contract. A lot of times they offer promotions. So watch for those promotions. You can get good deals a lot of times, especially like over Thanksgiving, Black Friday. A lot of these different services were offering promotions. So you can always just take advantage of those, and there's no contracts. Some of these you may want to look at the DVR considerations. Do you want, are you the type of person that likes to record programs to watch later on? The number of programs and how long you can keep them varies from one service to another. So that's something you might want to look at. Although with streaming services, you have a lot of alternatives with on demand. So there's less of a need for DVRs. You may not need a DVR at all, considering the fact that you can just dial into any movie or TV show that you might want. The other thing you need to look at is your local channels. When you switch to out of cable into a streaming service, you still want to get your local channels. So there are a number of ways to do that. One is using an antenna, and one is using a couple of different types of streaming services, and we'll talk about those a little bit later. And so, you know, those are the things that you may want to consider as well. Okay, now how do you pick from one of these offerings, these streaming services, these pay TV services to another? Well, what I provided on this was available right from our Sun City Computer Club website. You can go right on our website and you'll see a listing there that says click here to check the list of top 100 TV channels. If you go into that list, what you're going to see is a table like this. It shows the everything from T-Vision to Hulu with Live, YouTube TV, and so on. And it shows all of the channels, well, at least the top 100. It doesn't show all the channels. It shows the top 100 channels that you may be interested in. And you're not going to be watching all 200 channels or 300 or 1,000 channels or what have you. Most people just watch a few channels every day. So find the channels that you are most interested in, whether they're news or sports or entertainment or what have you. Those your must channels, those are the ones you want to make sure that you're getting. So you can then go across the chart and see which services provide those. So to weigh that against the cost of the service. And then again, like I say, with certain types of things, with watching football channels, you may not need it in the summertime, but you might want it during certain times of the year. So that, feel free that you can always switch from one service to another. You're not locked in. There are no contracts. So then we get into what we call the on-demand streaming services. So the ones we've looked at so far are the ones that are that give you kind of a cable replacement. But now we're doing the ones that complement your cable or your cable replacement streaming service. And these would be a regular YouTube, Peacock, PBS, Hoopla, Imd TV, Crackle, the CW, Voodoo free, and Sling free, which we're going to take a look at right now. So YouTube, and this is not the YouTube Live, this is the live TV, this is the regular YouTube, and you can do this from a computer, you can do it from your TV, from any device. You can go and you can do a search, and you can find videos on just about any topic you can think of, be it a news, sports, or how to fix your faucet. So that's something that everyone should take a look at is YouTube. And as I say, people subscribe. The average household subscribes to four streaming services, and YouTube should probably be one of those. Another one that's a newer service is Peacock, which offers through NBC, and they've added a lot of the additional offerings on here. And Peacock, the advantage of Peacock is it's totally free. Everything on there that you see is free. And it's movies and TV shows, and they do also have some live channels as well. So you can go in there and you can watch. They have their 24-hour news stations and so on. So it's worth exploring Peacock. For those of you who have Chromecast cable, I believe they're offering Peacock for free right now, the premium version. The free version is what you get with the free version, and a lot of these do the same type of thing. They may have a free version, and then they will have a premium version. The free version, you have to watch commercials. So if you don't like commercials, then there's the premium version. You pay a few dollars extra, and then you don't have ads. PBS. Everyone's familiar with PBS, Channel 11 in Chicago. A lot of the offerings from PBS are available on demand through the PBS app. So you can go in there and find all kinds of entertainment or programs that have been on PBS, all the different shows, and watch them to your heart's content. So that's something you might be interested in. Hoopla. Everyone should have a library card from Huntley. The Huntley Library subscribes to the Hoopla service. So if you're entering this through your library, they offer not only ebooks, but they also offer movies and TV shows, and it's totally free. And there are a lot of newer movies on there, as well as some of the old classics. So you can go in there and take a look, and it's always changing. They're always adding new films and TV shows, and so definitely worth looking at and utilizing is the Hoopla service through the Huntley Library. Imd Tv. Imd is a service which actually was purchased by Amazon, but it was basically a service that allows you. It's a website primarily, which allows you to read about different movies and TV shows. You can just do a search on your movies or TV shows, and it gives you all the information about it. Well, they've recently also started a streaming service, which they're calling Imd TV, which shows some of these movies, and it's totally free. So, that's worth looking at as well. Crackle. Crackle was originally owned by Sony. So they have a lot of the Sony catalog of movies, and they've been adding a lot of newer movies on there as well. And again, these are all free. They've got all kinds of different offerings. These different services have offerings from different studios. So a lot of these complement each other. They're not, you're not going to see the same content from one to another. In some cases, yeah, you will have like one film might be available on multiple services, but there are some that are only available on one particular service. So this is definitely one to look at that's totally free and has excellent content of TV shows and movies. The CW is the on-demand version of the CW channel. Their claim to fame is they do give you a full season of shows. So it's all the episodes. You can just go right in there and binge watch an entire season if you would like. Sling free. Sling is the pay service that we talked about. That's $30 a month for the orange and $30 a month for the blue, or $45 for both of them. Well, they try to get people to get a taste of it before you subscribe. So they offer what they call Sling free. And you can take advantage of that. Just dive right in. Again, there's no contracts here. This one is totally free. You're going in, when you on this particular service, what they call Sling free, you'll see the free offerings on there. You'll also see the pay offerings because they want you to subscribe to their pay service. But you can go right into any of the shows that you see here under free live news and sports or free live tea and movies. And you can watch those to your heart's content at no charge. Like I say, you will see what they're also offering at from the $30 versions. And then you can decide for yourself if you want to upgrade to that. Voodoo is a service that's actually owned by Walmart, and they rent streaming movies on demand, but they also have movies that you can watch for free. So what you're looking at here is you'll see a little banner above each movie that says free with ads. And they've got new releases on here. They've got their all-time movie favorites, top TV series, and so on, all the different categories of films and TV shows. And you can go in there and watch to your heart's content on any of these. The ones that aren't free, they'll pop up with a price on them. And of course, you can rent those for the price shown. But there's a lot on there that you can go in, as I say, you go into Voodoo and there's the free category, and all of these are free. Okay, then we get into the on-demand streaming services that you can subscribe to. And here again, there's no contract. So you can subscribe for a month, you can subscribe for years, that's up to you. Netflix is the biggest one out there. Of course, they started out also with DVDs before they got into streaming. And now, like many of these, they have their own studios and they're producing their own movies. What they're saying now for starting in 2021, their goal is to have a brand new original movie from Netflix studios coming out every week. So that's a lot of new films, and those would only be available through Netflix. They charge $9 a month. If you want it in HD, it's $14. If you want it in 4K, it's $18 a month. But that's, of course, the that's the biggie as far as pay-on-demand streaming services go. The next one is Amazon's Prime Video service. You don't have to have Amazon Prime. If you have the Amazon Prime in terms of purchasing and getting free shipping, they include Prime Video for free. So definitely worth looking at if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber for their shipping service. Definitely take advantage of the Prime Video. They have as many movies or more than and TV shows as many and more than Netflix even. You can also, even without the Amazon Prime, you can just get that by the month and subscribe by the month. It's $9 per month, and they'll have much different content than what you might see on Netflix. So again, these Netflix and Prime Video would complement each other. They would not be, alternative. And as I say, that's why people subscribe to multiple streaming services. The next one is Hulu. Hulu is $6 a month with ads, with commercials. It's $12 a month with if you don't want the commercials. And the commercials are not that annoying. I mean, you might get one commercial just before it starts the film. You might get another one in the middle of the film, and it's usually less than a minute, and then you might get one at the end. And Hulu does offer a free month, so you can try it out for a month free. And they have next day episodes. That's their claim to fame, is if you've missed a Saturday Night Live or whatever you wanted to watch, you can go and watch the stuff on Hulu the next day. Hbo Max is a new one. What they've done is they've taken the HBO channel and they've expanded it. So you've got not just HBO, but you've got the DC catalog, you've got Criterion on there, Turner movies. And one thing that they're now doing they started doing this with the pandemic, is they're showing Warner Brothers movies, the new Warner Brothers movies, the same day that it might have come out in theaters. So theaters are closed, or you don't want to go to a theater, you can actually watch it on HBO Max the very same day. They put out Wonder Woman 1984 recently. Of course, you've got all the HBO stuff like Game of Thrones, The Sopranos, and HBO Max is $15 a month. So it's a little bit pricey. Disney Plus started last year. They've got Star Wars. They did the new Mandalorian Star Wars type of thing. They've got the Marvel catalog, the Disney Pixar catalog, and they were trying to reel in people with things like when they first came out, they had a filmed production of Hamilton. So instead of spending hundreds of dollars for a ticket for Hamilton, you could watch it on Disney Plus. Last month they put out the brand new animated film Soul, which incidentally is, if you haven't seen it, it's an excellent film. It's not just a cartoon. It talks about the meaning of life. The cost of Disney Plus is $7 or $7 a month, but they have a bundle where you can get Disney Plus as well as Hulu and ESPN, all for $13. So that's something you may want to look at as an interesting bundle. It's a good price because that would cost, I think it's about $18 if you bought the three of those separately. Apple TV Plus, which they have offerings for free if you get a new Apple device like an iPhone. Otherwise, it's $5 a month. If you're into travelogues and nature movies and science films and things like that, Curiosity Stream is an excellent one for that. It's only $3 a month, and they have tremendous documentaries there. You could watch that all day and be entertained. And now what's going to be coming out this year, as I say, that they're always coming out with new streaming services. So it's this is kind of a dynamic thing. You're going to see who knows what's going to happen in the next couple of years. But just recently is Discovery Plus, which it's not just the Discovery channels, but they have on there the HD TV, Food Channel, Animal Planet, History Channel, and so on. So there's a lot of content on the Discovery Plus offering. Some of you might be familiar with CBS All Access. This was CBS's initial attempt at getting into streaming services, and now they're expanding that to something that they're going to be calling Paramount Plus, which will be coming out soon. And Paramount Plus is a it's going to add, well, the Paramount Studio catalog, and so there'll be a lot of additional offerings there, and that's something to look at. And then, as we mentioned, Stream for which will probably be about $10 a month. That hasn't come out yet. It won't be out until probably much later into the year. But they're going to have movies and TV shows from about 30 or 40 different smaller providers for that $10 a month. Okay, then we talk about news services. Everyone wants to get news. You want to get your local news as well. There's an app that you can put onto your TV or computer or tablet or whatever. It's called News On. News On has all the different local stations that you can pull in. So that's one way of getting local news. Another way besides News On is some of the channels like CBS News, ABC News, and NBC News all have 24-hour news stations that are available from streaming. So, and it's their own streaming service. So you can watch any of the ABC News. You can watch that, 24 hours a day if you want. And if you go onto their streaming services, CBS News in particular has it localized as well. So they'll have a national CBS News, but they also have a CBS Chicago News, CBS Boston, and so on. We talked in the past about Haystack, so I won't go into that, but that's a kind of a conglomeration of different news services, very worth taking a look at. Because you can even customize it. You can say, what topics are you interested in, and which providers do you want clips from, and it'll give you like various news clips, recent clips for the day. And of course, Pluto and Tubi and Zumo, the free services, all have local news channel, or not local news, but they have news channels as well. At the end of this presentation, Frank's going to give a presentation on Locast, which is another alternative for local channels. Okay, so with streaming services, there are so many different offerings. How do you find what you want to watch? Well, there are a couple of different ways you can do that. The first thing I would do is on many of these services, as you're browsing through, you see stuff you like. What you can do is you can click on it. They usually offer what they call watch lists. So you can like check off the ones that you want to watch, and it'll keep track of those. Many of the services are not only can you put it on your watch list, but it'll, if you only watch half the show, you could come back the next day and it'll give you a resume button, and you can pick up right where you left off. So, definitely take advantage of that. There are a couple of different apps. Decider is the one on the screen right now. And that gives you recommendations. It has a bunch of different articles in there and recommendations as to what you might want to look at. And this is available both on your TV as an app, or you can do it from the computer as well. Just go to decider.com. But you can also type in the name of a movie, and it'll show you, where you can watch that. And you can also, get ratings of things. You can go to the IMDb service and get ratings of films. So, for example, and there's one more. This is something you should also get familiar with. It's called Just Watch. And here again, you can do this from your TV, from your even it's from your smartphone, from your tablets or what have you. You just type in the name of the film. It'll bring up and it'll show you where you can stream it. So here's RBG, the film, the documentary on Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And it shows that you could watch this on Hulu. But it also shows that you can stream it on Hoopla. So even if you didn't have a subscription to Hulu, you could watch it for free on Hoopla. Or you can rent it from any of these services. So you've got Amazon, Google Play, YouTube, Voodoo, and so on for $2.99. So it's your choice. But this is a good way to find out which service is offering a movie that you might want to be interested in, or a TV show that you might want to be interested in. And it also shows you the ratings of the movie, the IMDb rating, and it'll also show you the, I believe that's the tomato rating, I'm not sure. And then the IMDb service that it might link to is also a good way to organize your movies and TV shows that you may want to watch. It gives you ratings. You can do a search on a particular item and you'll see the rating on it. And you can set up your own watch lists here as well. So how can you save money with streaming services? Well, here again, as I mentioned before, there no contract, so you can kind of play with these. You can subscribe to a service for a month or two each year, decide if you like it, or and you can switch services throughout the year. Definitely take advantage of the free trials and promotions that are available. So these are all things that you may want to do. I know I picked up over promotion for Curiosity Stream. I think at one time they were offering for $5 for the entire year. You could get a whole year subscription to that for $5. So, and you'll see a lot of these. Hulu was offering $1.99 a month subscription. So just keep your eyes open for things like that. And again, there's no contract. So you just sign up. If you want to continue it, you continue it. And otherwise, you drop it. Okay, so next, Frank Geister is going to give a presentation on the Locast app, and then we'll pick up with questions after that. Okay, Frank, you can unmute yourself and go ahead and share your screen.
Hello, everybody. Somebody's got a speaker on yet that's echoing. I think it stopped. Okay. Let's try a couple questions. Shelley, you want to go to the chat line and answer the few questions that popped up before I start?
Sure. Okay, the first question is the location of the comparison chart. Yeah, it's on the Computer Club's website. It's somewhere in the middle of the of our club website. You'll see a thing about cutting the cord. It'll say cutting the cord, and it'll say click here for an article, and it's right in that article. Just click on that. Click here. Next question was what internet-only services are available without a contract? Yeah, as I said, all of the streaming services we talked about today are available without a contract. And I think that's pretty much the, oh, here, I got some more, okay. Can you have Xfinity and Pluto at the same time? Absolutely, and this is how you can check and see if you want to actually cut the cord, is just go ahead and add Pluto or add any of these services on and see if you like them and play with them for a while. And then once you feel comfortable that you can drop your cable, at that point, drop the cable. Next question, for those who have cut the cable, who is providing your internet service and at what cost? Well, we're not talking about internet service today, but of course, internet service is available through Comcast. AT&T provides internet. They've in some of the neighborhoods in Sun City, they've been installing AT&T fiber as well. There will be satellite offerings that are coming on sometime this year. There's also the wireless carriers are getting into home internet, so you'll see home internet very soon from T-Mobile and Verizon as well.
How much bandwidth do you need on internet to do these?
You probably don't need that much bandwidth as long as you're not getting into 4K or the high definition. If you're just watching it with without 4K, you can use 5 megabits per second because it's the download that you're looking at, not the upload. So 5 megabits per second is probably fine. If you wanted to do 4K, well then yeah, you're going to need probably 25 megabits per second and up, but not with not for the standard even high definition. You should be just fine getting 1080p with 5 megabits per second even.
Then Fox Valley works for that too.
Yeah, and these are all no contract. There's a lot of free ones, so definitely just try it out, and you'll see if it's going to work for you or not.
I didn't see you mention Hallmark Channels. Are they on any of these services?
Yes, they are. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Okay, go ahead, Frank.
Okay, just thought we cleared those up before. I'll just tell you a little bit about what I'm doing. I'm doing a trial subscription right now. I'm trying to cut the cost of cable. I still have a subscription with Dish, and I'm going to, for the end of the month, I'm going to put it on hold. I'm going to tell them I'm going south for a few months, and they'll reduce it to about $10 a month, I think, and see how it actually works out. And that's another advantage that you could do. You could tell your carrier that you're going on vacation south for a few months and you want your cable suspended for a while. That will be a good test. If you come back early, you can say, if you say you can't live without it, after a month, you could say, well, call them up and tell them you're back early. They don't care. So that is a thing that you can keep in mind. The other thing you could do is we should have a program on how you set your TV up. We'll have to consider this because there are so many different ways. We also most likely will need you'll need some kind of device, whatever it is to receive your cable, your shows on what you're using for streaming, I should say. So most people, the easiest way to do this in the beginning, no matter what TV you have, is start a Roku, get a Roku's channel going. If you have a smart TV, you might have Roku on it already. And that makes it the easiest of all of them, I think, to set up. Another thing you could do is if you're going to buy one out and you got a newer TV that's 4K, you could buy a Chromecast plus TV. And that really it's a $50 investment, and it really covers them all. And the advantage of using that is it gives you a pick. It sort of learns what you watch, and it will look at all the channels and tell you what's the most likely program you're going to would want to watch. I'll show up on the top list of picks. And it won't matter what channel it's on. So that has an advantage, a big advantage. So we'll have to come up with another one of these classes where we talk about that in detail, because I know it's a problem for most of you. It's a problem for me, even trying to keep track of it all. The other thing you got to look, you could live on basically YouTube. If you want to just look at TV that's interesting to you, and you're not that interested in any, just want to be programs that you're interested in, you can find anything on there, from 10-minute, 5-minute little clips to 3-hour programs. So there's all kinds of options. And that's the biggest problem. You can spend majority of your time scanning all the options and never watch anything. And that is so true, because you have all these channels and they all have a presentation of what they have on there, and you can go start looking, and you can continue looking, and you continue looking, and pretty soon you blew 2 hours, 3 hours, and you haven't watched anything except their ads of what shows they have on their service. So I would say YouTube is one of the best for just killing time. And you'll find that you can watch pretty good TV. And a lot of it TV that I end up watching is my dream was a sailboat, and I never did it. So I'm watching a lot of sailors, and there is about 10 channels out there that have nothing but a couple that are sailing around the world, and they're all types of different locations. When they go ashore, they show it. And the production value of these shows are very, very good. You wouldn't believe that they're amateurs. It shows now how you can have, anybody can make a TV show or a travel show. And if you got a drone, you even got the aerial skyline pictures. So that's that. So another thing that we're going to talk about is Lowcast. Lowcast is a sort of a sneaky way of getting your local channels on your TV. What I mean by sneaky is it's Lowcast doesn't have to pay like the cable company has to pay, because they're a profit-making corporation. They have to pay the local TV station big bucks, like $1 or something, 90 cents a month, to get their show, to get all the cable that TV station is broadcasting on the cable channel. And that's just for a local market. So it's, it's hard to say how effective it is for the Dish TV or all the different suppliers to pay that, because that is a big dollar when you add up all the channels. So Locast does it a different way. There's an FCC rule that says that a community could have a transponder station in a market that would help you receive the signal if you can't receive it off the normal channels. Because that could be because you're out further, or your reception is restricted because of a building next door that blocks the signal, or you get a picture that pixelates a lot. So they use that excuse, and they're running it as a nonprofit corporation. So will it last for another 10 years? It's made it about 2 years now. There's lawsuits involved, but the court said, go ahead, and we investigate this and make a decision on it. So it looks like it's going to last because, for 2 years it's been out there, and Locast has upped the number of cities that they have on their system to about 50% of the population in the United States can get a Locast signal from their local TV now. So there's a lot more stations on there. And they've also, when they first came out, they were just broadcasting the lower portion of it, like to CBS, NBC, ABC. And I think they did PBS and 32, and that was it. Now they have all the channels, all the sub channels. So it's very good for the Chicago market. It has all 50 channels, I think, or so, when you count the sub channels on there. So let's try it here. I don't know if this is going to work. We'll have to give it a try and see if we can show you. This is just another streaming service. And let's see here. I think it's in. Is that going to do it or not? We'll try it and see. Well, I have to hide some stuff up here. Optimize, hide floating menus. There we go. Well, we'll have to go through this thing. It must have lost it. I had it set up last night, and I thought I didn't turn the computer off, but it must have went away.
Yeah, Frank, just just start up the before you do the sharing. Here, let's stop the share on this, and before you do the sharing, bring up Locast.
Yeah, I can do that too.
And then
Yeah, I'll go try it here again in the background so I don't get everybody screwed up. Because when the thing was broadcasting before, everybody was using a slideshow, and I couldn't get in there to see if it was still there. So turn on the sound here. Well, we'll get it this way. Okay. This is what you get once you're logged in. You'll get a menu that looks sort of like this. If menu comes up, we'll maybe see. Okay, it's fishing. Now, this is what really is convenient. This is if you don't decide that you don't want to use it, this gives you a list of finding out all the TV shows in Chicago and what's on them at a given moment. You'll see the channel number listed over there, 2579. That's our local channels. And if you go down to the bottom of the list, you can see all the TV shows in that first left corner that are on now. So you get a very good listing of all the channels and what's on them. So a lot of these channels, have some shows on 50 and on some of the sub channels that you don't even know about. And like Dateline, it's on 50-1. So that you might say, well, let's see what Dateline is. So we'll click on Dateline and you get a little square there and you click on it and it will, or you can double click on that. It says we're not going to get the CDs, I don't think. I think we got a problem here. Let's see what it did this once before. It says I'm not in the market for this thing. I don't know why. I know it's a setting that allows it to tell where you're. And I set that last night or the night before, and it worked. And it worked yesterday fine. Now all of a sudden it doesn't want to work because I said Chicago, but it's getting my GPS signal from the internet service, and it must be something that is reported to be a little bit outside the normal area for our channels. So when you click on that, once you get set up, it works fine. But this, same thing pops up. Your reports that your location is outside the area. So your TV will pop up normally there, and it will give you all the live TV from Chicago. And it will be a very good resource. They have one thing that they ask that it's free, but it has a $5. They're asking for a $5 donation to keep it on the air, keep it working, and to pay the cost of their costs involved in getting all the equipment to receive the stations and put it on the air, put it on the streaming. So they're asking everybody to donate $5 for a month. And it's most likely worth the $5, but they let you see the TV shows without paying the $5. About every 15 minutes, they'll give a commercial to say that you should donate the $5. And that gets annoying very quick. And then it goes back to that menu I had up there. It didn't bring the channels in, and you have to click again on the channel that you're watching. So you lose about a minute and a half, 2 minutes of the channel you're watching if you don't pay the $5. So in the general rule, if you're going to use this as a replacement, this will give you the local channels with no antenna. And the other approach would be is put an antenna on the roof or in the attic. And it has to be a pretty good one. Don't buy any of these antennas at Walmart or any place like that. Get it on an online service that sells a Winegard or Channel Master antenna. And it doesn't have to be or it should not necessarily say high definition. It doesn't mean that. It means it's a TV antenna that's capable of receiving UHF channels. That's all you need. You don't need a HD antenna or a 8K antenna. There's no such thing as those. It's the TV signal you're recording. So it should be anything that's any UHF channel that's good for, say, 65 miles would work. And if you got it set for Chicago, you should get Rockford too, because the Rockford stations on the back side of it are almost in line with downtown Chicago. So you line them up for Chicago and you should get Rockford stations. So you'll get 100 stations on that from the TV antenna. You won't need lowcast. But if you have lowcast, you don't have to, you're going to spend $100 for an antenna about, and maybe depends on if you get your kids to put it in the attic. That's the best way. There is cable up there from your feed in from the outside cable box that you can disconnect it from that lead and use that, goes to all the outlets in the house. So that would make it simple. Most of your kids could do it for you, put it in the attic, and it would work very well. So that's it. And I'll try to figure out what went wrong again. I'm having trouble with this thing. It works one night, the next night it didn't work. But it will give you a perfect picture that looks just as good as TV on perception.
Okay, thanks, Frank. And with that, we're going to open it up to questions. So just unmute yourself, or you can hold down your space bar if you're on a computer. And then we'll field all your questions.
Frank, does it work on both analog and digital TVs?
There's no such thing as that stating. You're saying you got two tuners in there. Your analog tuner doesn't work no more.
Yeah,
There's nothing.
Analog is defunct. Yeah, there is no more analog TV. It's all digital now.
It's all digital. Most of your older TVs had a tuner in there for both channels, because there's some markets, some places in the country that a lot of these transponder stations I was talking about that were TV stations that a local community would have, they might still be running on analog. So most of the TVs have a capability of receiving it, but none of the things will work on those. You got to have a smart TV, and it has to be digital.
Yeah, if you've got an old analog TV and you've got Comcast, what Comcast does is they take the digital signal and they convert it to an analog signal so you can pick it up on your older TVs. But
Yeah,
all the broadcasting is done digitally now.
there are some devices you can buy from cheap ones, like Roku has some that will translate the signal to an older TV. It'll go in on the RCA jacks connections or on the cable. So I don't know if they have them on a cable, they'll have them on the RCA jacks. They have them, but they're I wouldn't buy that. I would consider a new TV. You can buy them for a 50-inch for $300 somewhere in that area when you look around. They don't have to be a smart TV. They just have to be a TV. Then you're going to get a Yoko box and Roku and be set. Or you can buy a Roku TV and that will be set for you. Okay.
Okay, other questions? Yeah, just unmute yourself or hold down the space bar.
I have one.
Okay.
You didn't mention Plex. Is there a reason?
No, Plex is another alternative for streaming. We couldn't get into all of them. There are tons more streaming services, so we couldn't cover everything.
Plex is more of a system that was designed for a user that has a lot of their own videos, sources, and movies. If you have a collection, you can put them on that system. But it's time consuming.
Yeah, well, they started out, yes, as for starting your own video library and streaming them to your various devices over Plex, and now they have their own streaming shows as well. Other questions?
What
Can-
about recording? Do you recommend a recording device?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, DVR. Many of the cable replacements, such as YouTube Live and Hulu Live TV, provide DVRs. It's a DVR capability, just like you might have with cable. So you don't need to buy a DVR device. It's all done through the streaming service. It's streamed for you online. You just tell it to record a particular program that you're interested in. It'll record it. And, you know, like I mentioned before, it varies by the service. You need to check on the particular service how many shows you can DVR, and you know, how long it'll keep it for. You know, some of them will keep it for 9 months, or some are less.
What if you're using an antenna for local?
Well, if you want to record your local stations with an antenna, yes. If you're using like Hulu Live or TV Live, that replaces the need for an antenna or a low-cast type thing. But if you have an antenna for your local stations, then you just need streaming service for the non-local stations. You don't need the full thing. You can just go and, you know, and pick up things like Peacock and Netflix and the like. And then if you wanted to record your local channels, yeah, then you might need a regular DV recorder device, just like you would with a regular TV.
Okay, thank you.
You could record your shows if you have local channels by putting lowcast on a computer, getting the channel in, and then just setting up Zoom, and you can set up Zoom to record the channel by going, I won't go into how you do it, but it's like one, call up the station and have it on set on your computer, then call in Zoom and just record it, and you get a good picture. Very good. I was going to show some of those, but that was it didn't work, so I couldn't show that. You could record on Zoom for nothing, because you can have a Zoom meeting. You would just start a meeting yourself, and that meeting could last, I think, 24 hours. So you could get 24 hours of recording time. I don't know how lowcast, if it would last that long without asking if you're still watching or not. I imagine it wouldn't do more than a couple hours. They have a tendency to ask you, are you still watching this channel?
And there's less of a need for a DVR with streaming, because you're watching things on demand. So if you missed the show today, you could go back tomorrow and pick it up on Hulu or YouTube, or, you know, one of these other services, and watch that show on demand.
Yeah,
Other
the biggest
questions?
problem you have there is remembering what the name of the program was, or what number it was, if that's how they're storing them. You know, it gets complex, because every station might have a little different way of recording it. If you've watched part of it, it usually will be stored in your what you watched and you didn't completely see it. So those things will pop up automatically when you turn on your same streaming service, and you can just click on the continue watching.
Shelley, on Comcast, when you record something, we record and watch it the next day, it automatically bypasses all the commercials. Do the streaming services have that bypass feature, or do you have to actually watch commercials if there are commercials on the recording?
It depends on the streaming service and whether, whether it's a, whether they're, you're paying for a premium service so that it includes, not having commercials. But if the show that you're watching has commercials in it and it's just a regular broadcast, then yeah, it's going to broadcast it with the commercials. However, there, a lot of times, let's say, for example, you wanted to watch a news program, you can many times pick it up, let's say on YouTube. You can just go onto YouTube, as Frank mentioned, and you can find a recording of that program within hours after it airs, and usually those will not have commercials.
Yeah, usually if it's a network stored program like any of the late night TV shows, if they'll be on YouTube usually within 20 minutes, a half hour of when they were live in our local time zone here. And they'll have it as a replay, especially the highlights or the comedian or the introduction jokes in the beginning. They'll be on within 15, 20 minutes usually. So you can always find those, and those won't have any commercials in.
Yeah, you're not typically picking up the commercials that originally aired. You're picking up the commercials from the service that you're replaying it on.
Yeah, like if you get some channels will divide that. They'll have a local feed where what internet company you're getting your streaming from, if it's Comcast or Fox Valley or one of those, they have the option of putting some commercials on their stream when they send it to you, just like the TV stations where the network broadcast commercials. There are a set of commercials that come from the network and a set that come from your local TV station. And those are usually only broadcast on that particular program you're watching. If that show was available on some other service, you would have different commercials or no commercials.
Okay, more questions?
Yes, Shelley, I have a question. Hello, can you hear me?
Sure, go ahead.
This is pretty basic, I'm sure, for all you tech guys. I don't quite understand all this. If I was to want to go with a Hulu or a Sling or one of those services and drop my Comcast cable, how would I get the signal into my TV?
Yeah, if you have a smart TV, you already have the capability of bringing in various types of apps. If the apps that you want are not available through that smart TV, then you need to get a device. We had a previous presentation on streaming devices, and that's like an Amazon Fire Stick or a Roku device. Incidentally, if you wanted to play with that, the Huntley Library actually rents out Roku devices, so you can rent it for a few weeks and play with it.
I do have a smart TV, but I do not have it tied into my computer.
No, you don't need it tied into computer. You just need tied into the internet. So if you have a smart TV and it's you have Wi-Fi in your home,
I
as long
do.
as you have Wi-Fi in your home, then it can pick it up off of the Wi-Fi.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, it's in the setup. You have to give it your name of what you called your router or your internet provider's box. The SID number is what the official name is for that. You have to know that. It usually finds it because it's the loudest signal it sees. And then the next thing is the question that most people get stumped on is the passcode. You have to know what the passcode is on the router for the TV can get into it. And set that up, and then it should work. And it might be already set up for you. Then you'll have to go on your streaming service and see if you have a button you can press where you can type in a search. It's usually listed as a search description. You hit that button, and then you got to move over to the search, and there'll be an alphabetical keyboard with letters on it. You just click on there what show or what's the name of the service you're trying to get. If it isn't on your TV now, you type in, let's say YouTube, and then you hit the button. It usually pops up, and you get a button, you click on it, and it'll install it. So that's about as simple as it gets. The big trick is to be sure your TV, if you haven't used your TV on the internet before, it might not be connected to the internet. So you'll have to go to the setup screen on the TV and get it hooked up. And that requires,
Yeah, go ahead.
Once it's set up, you have to also go to the remote and go to source and change the source for your TV from the cable slot to the internet slot.
Correct. Yeah, and if you have newer TVs, they're usually going to have either a built-in Roku, or they might have a built-in Android TV, or some other system, and which will where you can load in all kinds of apps. More questions?
Shelley,
Okay.
I just wanted to thank you for doing such a phenomenal job of the research on this. I just was really impressed with all the information you had.
Oh, thanks. Okay, more questions?
Oh,
Do you guys-
Hi. Am I good here, Robert?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, go ahead.
Big question of the day here. How about Chicago sports? Cubs, Sox, Blackhawks. Anything out there?
Hey, money. Hey, money. Yeah, you have to pay.
Yeah, there are the streaming services to get all that. So I mean, you can subscribe, to the NBA channels, the MLB channels, and so on. They're streaming on all of that. Even the stuff that's that's locked out. I mean, you can get it. So, and of course, the local channels. A lot of the games come through on local channels, and so you can get that through either an antenna or through Lowcast, or one of these other ways to get your local channels.
It's going to be hard to figure out sports cheap. There is, they got that tied up pretty good now. They all went off of the TV for every game was played on a local TV station to a private streaming service.
Yeah, but the streaming services, like if you look at Fubo, for example, you'll see all of the sports networks on there. They're probably the best as far as sports networks go. Take a look at Fubo. More questions?
I have one.
Go ahead.
Can anybody comment on the new Tesla satellite service?
Yeah, that's not available yet in the Chicago area, but it will be. There are several satellite services that are going to be coming up. Amazon is also putting out satellites, so they'll be competing with the Tesla service. I believe it's called Starlink. So yeah, you'll be seeing a lot of that. And as I say, there'll also be alternatives with wireless carriers, where they're using a wireless signal just like you have on your smartphone. And Verizon is offering that. Not yet available around here, but Verizon, T-Mobile is starting to put that in various areas. So look for those coming out probably either later this year or next year.
Yeah, T-Mobile shows it and Verizon show it as our area is covered by 5G right now. And I believe they're both offering a box where you can get a whole bunch of streaming. I would take a walk over to that, when you go to Jewel, take a walk down to,
Yeah, no, it's not available yet in Sun City area, Frank.
I'm not sure of that because they were offering it and they said they reclaimed it and it looks like on their map, it's available. Now, it might be, I would go over to that T-Mobile store and ask them what they know about it. Because they were it's priced at $50 a month. And if it's 5G, I think that box also receives it from the satellite, from the cellular system. So if that's the case, it might be a real good buy. We're giving you a cable.
What was that, Jamie?
What speeds would you expect off of that T-Mobile?
Well, initially it's a 4G type speed, but it's supposed to be later this year. They're going to be having 5G home internet. So then they'll be getting speeds in the hundreds of megabits per second, even up to a gigabit speed.
Yeah, the question is, does it give you? It doesn't give the $50 deal doesn't give you internet outside of the TV. So it only receives the TV channels on that they're having pricing.
You need the internet service, right? You need the internet service too.
Yeah,
right. There's T-Mobile Vision, which is their home TV service, and then there's the T-Mobile home internet and Verizon home internet, which is being offered as a wireless service, 4G, soon to be 5G. But either way, the speed is definitely good enough to even get 4K. 4K.
I'm currently running on AT&T copper, and I'm getting up to 25 megabit.
That's about it.
Yeah, that should be good enough for streaming.
It works relatively well. I get some slowdowns occasionally.
Yeah, it depends. If you're just using it on one device, it's going to be fine. Where you'll run into trouble is if you're trying to run multiple TVs, or if somebody else is playing a video game, that type of thing. But if you're just streaming one to one device, you're fine.
Yeah. Well, just letting people know there are other options.
Yeah.
Besides cable.
Oh, absolutely. And you're going to be seeing more as time goes on. And TVs themselves, they're going to what they call the next generation TV, and they're starting to build that into the TVs now. It's called ATSC 3.0, and that enables you just with an antenna, the broadcast antenna, will be able to pick up 4K streams right off of the broadcast antenna.
Yeah, for the geeky guys, both myself and Shelly are using a system through
antennas. Yeah,
are using a system of broadcast receiving our internet through a phone system. Like it's all a cellular phone system.
Yeah, wireless internet.
Yeah, wireless internet off of a cell system. And this is, you're seeing our picture today from both of us broadcast. And I have a phone that's about in the other room is receiving my signal from the computer through a Wi-Fi connection to the phone, and away it goes up to the internet on that box. And it goes out to a cell tower and connects. So that is going to be the big thing this year. Cell phone providing the internet connections. So in my case, it's a $25 fee for my cell phone and my internet connection. And it's a techie type situation. You have to be technical, but it's possible to do it.
Okay, more questions? Yeah, just unmute yourself or hold down your space bar. Any more questions? And if not, then our next meeting will be on February 11th, the second Thursday of the month in February. And we're going to be doing a presentation on tax services. So if you're going to be preparing your income tax, you'll want to tune into that.